This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Fan.
All right, Pete Fox. And here we are, Parker Fox, elite basketball mind. He's a homie who howls, a co-host of the Wolves Fan Line presentation with young Maxwell, howling with the homies at Parker Fox 24 via the tweet machine. If you'd like to follow him, great time to follow him too with these elite, what were hockey takes, and that may continue during the Wild Series, but these basketball takes and everything. And it's the Dubs. It's the Golden State Warriors after dispatching of the Houston Rockets last evening. Mr. Parker Fox, good morning, and what do you think of them Dubs?
Good morning, PA. Yeah, they had to grind through that. They had to grind through that series. That's a good Houston team that they beat. I think their playoff kind of history and experience kind of showed. That's something that the Warriors have done for several years now with that main core of Steph Curry and Draymond Green, and then adding a playoff player like Jimmy Butler. They call him Playoff Jimmy, as we know. But they had to fight it out, man. And I think that that benefits the Wolves, especially early in this series. Don't
the Warriors give you the feel? Like, so they played last night. I think Jimmy the Bulldog might have played 45. Steph might have played 40, 42.
Yep.
I mean, they didn't use their bench basically at all a lot during the series. But as Finch just told us, they will hit you with a different starting lineup, and you don't supposedly expect it's coming.
Yep.
And so therefore they'll balance things that way. But when it comes to the Warriors with specifically Curry and Green and then Butler with all that equity, the Wolves should win tomorrow night.
Yes.
I mean, Golden State, I think, went straight from Houston, came here, but they probably will get a day off today.
Yeah.
You would think after a 7-game series, or maybe a little walkthrough or film session or whatever.
Yep.
And then morning shoot it the next day and get ready for tomorrow night. But that's the point. Golden State ain't tripping over losing game one here, there, anywhere.
Yeah.
It's like you can beat them. You can even go out there and beat them by 30. And they're not going to become rattled, right?
No, this is a Warriors team that's done this for a long time, and they understand that the playoffs is kind of a journey in that way. Where hey, we went 7 against Houston, so be it. Now we have to find a way to not go 7 again against the Timberwolves, or find a way to get a win at Target Center, and they're probably not eyeing that first game as a game that they're going to get a win. You know, this Warriors team, it's a little similar to the Lakers in kind of what they do with the rotation. Now, they'll go a little deeper into their bench, but you look at the game last night, and there's 5 guys that almost played 40 minutes. Buddy Hield was the only one that was 3 minutes short, but Jimmy Butler played 45 minutes, Buddy Hield 37, Draymond Green 40, Curry 46, Podziemski 40. They don't want to go into their bench just like the Lakers didn't want to go into their bench. They played Kevon Looney 11 minutes and Moses Moody 11 minutes. But they don't want to go to the bench like the Wolves want to go to the bench. So I think this game one is as important of a playoff game that the Timberwolves have ever had. Setting the tone early in Target Center, like this first quarter has to be a beating on the Warriors, who had to go 7 with a really athletic Houston Rockets team, flying straight from Houston to Minneapolis, like you said. Like, the Wolves have to set the tone early in this first quarter, especially of game one, to say, hey, we're here. You're playing on our court. You're the one that had to go 7. We went 5. Let's beat them up early. I think that's the tone set the Timberwolves have to have.
Now, Jonathan Kuminga. All right. I mean, it sounds more like some form of rash that requires cream.
I always love that one.
Than a sharpshooter off the bench. I have a case of Kuminga.
I always love
I'm sorry to hear that, man. I hope you don't, lose a toe. He flat didn't play in four of the games against the Rockets. Mm-hmm. I mean, didn't play.
Yeah.
And in the first game, the Warriors lose by 15, 109-94, game 2. So he didn't play in game 1, game 2 at Houston. They used him 26 minutes. He goes 4 of 12. And he only had 1 turnover in that game. But then in game 3, Kerr plays him 17 minutes. So maybe he was a little nicked up. I don't know. But he played 7 minutes last night. And the only reason he got into that game last night is simply because they pretty much had it won. So like Jonathan Kuminga, man, I think they might have just paid him too.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think of him becoming an X factor under the cover of darkness, Kuminga?
I think if Kuminga becomes an X factor, the Warriors are really searching for something. They're really struggling with the guys that they have on the court. You're right. He signed a 4-year, $24.5 million contract. I think, they were pretty high on him, man. The Warriors were pretty high on him. And I think throughout this year, I was pretty high on Kuminga. Every year I come out with before the season starts, I come out with who I think are going to be most improved, MVP, kind of my preseason guess. And Kuminga is a guy that I highlighted in that most improved player, context. And I was dead wrong on that. He kind of went the other way this year. He kind of fell on that teetering on the bench and playing kind of deal. And you and me both know Steve Kerr is a guy that's going to put guys in the game that he values and he thinks are going to help him win. And Kuminga hasn't been that guy. He hadn't been that guy towards the end of the regular season. He hadn't been that guy in this first round of the playoffs. Like you said, he's really only in there at the end of the game because they're winning by so much. He only played that 20-minute game because they were down somebody. I think Jimmy Butler was down and hurt. So I think that if Kuminga becomes an X factor, we already have the series won. That's my short answer for you.
I'm digging that. Now, Kevon Looney. Mm-hmm. All right. Now that's another bench guy who is, he's a high field goal percentage guy, but he doesn't shoot that much.
Yep.
Free throws ain't great, but he doesn't get to the line much.
Yeah.
He's a rebounder, but he's a big man who's not known as a shot blocker. Now, when bringing up Kevon Looney to Finchy earlier, and I'm like, all right, well, you have 8 guys who can start for most teams in the NBA.
Yep. I'm
not saying they don't, but they'll put L's on players like Kuminga,
certainly,
who may play 26 minutes, then he doesn't play 3 games. But then all of a sudden he might play 35 minutes one game and as a starter. Mm-hmm. So Kerr mixes and matches like that. I just reading between the lines of the way Finch answered this question, Looney is a big key here.
He is.
Well, and I think he's 6'10", 6'11". The Wolves have the size advantage here.
They do.
But he's like Looney. Looney's gotten us a little bit in the past, so I looked it up. And in 4 this year, he averaged 7 rebounds a game. Last year, he averaged 9 rebounds a game.
Yeah.
So they probably will unleash Looney a little bit, right?
Oh, they certainly will. I even see him starting in some of these games just with the matchups that kind of present themselves. The Wolves go big. We go with Gobert and we go with Randall in our starting lineup. And you have to find a way, if you're the Warriors, to kind of counteract that. And what do you do? I don't know exactly. Do you put Podziemski on the bench and do you start Looney and go big?
Is that how you say his name, Podziemski, for sure?
Yeah.
I thought it was Podziemski.
Podziemski. He's actually was best friends with our assistant athletic trainer at the U. So they went to high school together. So
he was a baller at Santa Clara, right?
Baller. Yeah, he's from a military academy in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So local.
Podziemski.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah. And then, but you're right. Kevon Looney is going to be that guy that he's just become the ultimate Golden State Warrior. Like, he's just become their system type of player over these past couple of years. I remember when they drafted him out of UCLA, I was sitting in a hotel in Siren, Wisconsin, and I thought, who is Kevon Looney and why is he going to the Dubs?
That's great.
And it's worked perfectly for him. And I think you're right. He's going to be a guy that has a huge impact in this series. The rebounding battle is something that I look at. Golden State averages about 13 rebounds offensively per game. That's 4th in the league. While the Timberwolves are kind of down right at about 11, which is 20th in the league.
That's next level.
So they have that advantage on us.
Stifle had 9 rebounds in the offensive rebounds in the last game against the Lakers.
He was absolutely tremendous. And he's going to need to do that again, especially if Kevon Looney isn't playing, if they go with that smaller lineup. Now, if Kevon Looney's playing, it's going to be a little tougher for him to kind of get those. We saw so many of those offensive rebounds and put back dunks.
Yep.
That's harder when you have a 6'11", 280-pound Kevon Looney out there. But if you have a 6'8" Draymond Green and a 6'4" Brandon Podziemski, I really like Rudy Gobert down low.
Okay, so if Golden State wants to play small, and during the Finch interview 45 minutes ago, he said something along the lines of that they're either they play small more than anybody in the league.
They do.
Or they're like the best at playing small compared to anybody in the league. Well, I mean, if you use Looney for long patches, and by the way, you can burn fouls with Looney on Stifle because Stifle ain't great at the line. Does that pull you out of how you want to play?
Yeah, I think it definitely does. I think when you talk about going small, you're talking about playing the guys that you've played this 7-game series against the Houston Rockets. So I think that's where depth and kind of that chemistry and depth kind of comes into play, where when you have a Timberwolves team that's super confident in going to Naz Reid and going to Nickeil Alexander-Walker and, maybe even going to a Terrence Shannon Jr. on your bench, like bringing in some of those longer athletic wings that can defend. I think I include Naz Reid in that category because I think he can defend one-on-one on the perimeter as well. So I think you just got to throw different bodies at Steph Curry. Like, you're never going to shut down a Steph Curry. You're never going to shut down a Jimmy Butler. But hey, can I throw Nickeil Alexander-Walker for 5 minutes and then bring Jaden back? And then, hey, Naz Reid's guarding him for a couple of minutes. Or hey, here's Terrence Shannon Jr., the rookie that's got a lot of energy. Let's throw him at him for a couple of minutes. So I think you're right, PA. I think they're going to try to go small and they're going to try to get up and down the court. But I think ultimately that favors the Wolves, in my opinion. We saw that against the Lakers in that series.
There, Parker Fox, 9 to noon, Elite Basketball Mind Covenant. He's a homie who howls. At Parker Fox 24 via the X Machine. Please follow him. The Jaden McDaniels, here's Luka, go get him. And, we've had some inconsistencies, early fouls or blow up games, couldn't hit a corner three to save his life. Then he started hitting them. And hopefully that stays consistent with that. In this series, it's to start because we have so many picks and changes and switches and stuff like that. Where do you start Jaden?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think you probably start him on Jimmy.
Me too.
Just with Mike Conley in the starting lineup, it's going to be tough if he's going to bully. Jimmy Butler's going to bully him.
Yep.
But I think there's so many different things you can do through the course of 48 minutes that is going to favorite, the Wolves. Jaden McDaniels, he's a guy he's arguably the best perimeter defender in the NBA. I like that guy out in Denver too, Peyton Watson.
Yep.
Similar build, long, scrawny.
That's a nice call right there.
Yeah, athletic. But Jaden's held his opponents to under 42% shooting this season, which is elite level stuff. He's going to be the primary defender on a Jimmy Butler, on a Steph Curry. In the regular season matchup, Jaden McDaniels has held Curry to just 38% shooting from the field, which is astronomically lower than what Curry shoots from the field. So I expect Chris Finch to put him on, different defenders. And I think if he does what he does best, Jaden McDaniels, he's going to crawl up in Steph Curry shorts, and he's going to cause him a little bit of pain.
Cause him something getting up in somebody's shorts.
But PA, you got to throw different bodies at him. Yeah, right. Exactly. You got to throw different bodies at him. And the Wolves defense, they're a top defense in the NBA. So we're going to see. I think it's going to be a defensive battle ultimately. And then, hey, let's get out and run. Let's get in transition and let's go have a little bit of fun.
Right, because that Golden State, granted, end of a series. I mean, Steph Curry came out of Davidson.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget him in the NCAA tournament because I had heard of him. And he's starring in all these games, carrying Davidson as far as he can.
Oh, yeah.
But the big talker into that, I think that was the Johnny Flynn.
It was, yes.
Flonnie Gin, or you got Steph Curry, and you got Curry. Yeah, Curry with his father Dell.
Yes.
Say, at least it was intimated or reported that if you draft me, I won't play for you.
Yeah.
Well, like my initial reaction right there was, because I wanted Steph after watching him in the NCAA tournament, was, okay, cool. Well, I mean, if you really have the stomach to go ahead and sit out a year, you have a chance to own the rights of this guy, man, and he's kind of polarizing. Didn't know it would become what it has become, and he'd become one of the all-time best. But that I think you were 9 years old, when Steph Curry came into the NBA. Well, here we are. You're in your mid-20s, and he's in his 16th year. So, like LeBron has some villain to him. Luka's all about villain, because of his complaining and stuff. I just never have seen Steph Curry as a villain.
Yeah, you're right. Besides the time he decided to throw that mouth guard and get the tech that caused him the series there against the Cavs in the finals. No, you're right. Curry's kind of always been he's kind of always been that nice guy.
Yeah.
He's kind of always
baby
been
Steph.
that. Yeah, it's baby Steph. I think the baby face probably helps. He's never had to be the villain on his team as well. That helps. He's always had this guy named Draymond Green who's chosen the villain route for his team. Steph Curry, he's the most dangerous shooter on the earth. He averaged 26.5, 5 assists, 4.5 rebounds, while shooting 41% from three this year. So, like you said, he just turned 37 in March. So, he's an older guy, but he's a guy that's done this playoff stuff for so long that he knows exactly what he needs to have, where he needs his body to be going into a series against the Timberwolves. And like I said, I think that's why this game one is so important. They just had to play a 7-game series against an athletic Houston team. Now you're going straight to Minneapolis. You can't let him come out of the gates early in game one in the first quarter and start hitting a bunch of threes and make this thing close. Like, it needs to be nail in the coffin early game one in Minnesota tomorrow night.
What do you think of Buddy Hield? And the reason I bring it up, he's an ancillary, secondary kind of piece where Buddy Hield, more than not, will shoot you out of games. He's 25, 28. He'll shoot you out of games because he's not a passer. He's like those who follow, he's got some Norman Powell to him.
Malik Beasley a little bit.
That's a great call. And even though, like Beasley's been around longer, but Beasley is longer and rebounds a little better. But Buddy Hield, man, he had 6 3-pointers in the first quarter last night and 22 first half and 22 points.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen a lot, but that can't happen in these games. You're all wound up over Steph and Butler, and then all of a sudden, the Bahamanian Buddy Hield's beating you.
Yeah, the thing that Jimmy Butler does best for this Warriors team is he provides instant spacing for Steph Curry. So Steph Curry's a guy that if you watch tomorrow night, you're going to see Steph Curry moving at all times. Like, he doesn't stop moving. He's coming off pin downs. When he has the ball in his hands, he's moving. What Buddy Hield does is he spaces the floor. So now you can't shrink in the gaps and help on Steph Curry because you have Buddy Hield who's shooting over 40% for his career from three. So you gotta stay out on Buddy. He's a guy that averaged 12.3 points off the bench, shooting 42% from deep in that Houston series. He spaces the court for Steph Curry about as good as he's ever had in his career. He used to have Klay Thompson there in Golden State that helped him space the court as well. But now he's got a guy in Buddy Hield that shoots it just as well from deep. He's ranked top 5 in guards in catch and shoot efficiency from three. Opposing defensive have already stressed about Steph Curry and closing out on Steph Curry. But now you add Buddy Hield to that mix. That's another guy you got to close out to. You got to be on. Yeah. You don't have to put a Jaden McDaniels on Buddy Hield because it's not going to be a primary ball handler, but you got to have like a Nickeil Alexander-Walker, somebody that can kind of be in the gap but still close out and contest three. DiVincenzo.
Yes. And it's the ancillary parts of DiVincenzo's game would include steals, rebounds, the tipping of passes and the tipping of balls. I don't know if there's a stat for that or whatever in the mainstream. Yeah. There's not, but he does it a lot. It's super key because he just may get a finger on a pass and then somebody has to move 5 feet to get it, but 3 seconds came off the shot clock. So he does a lot of under the radar things like that. There's going to need to be a time, I feel, that he hits threes en masse because he can shoot threes and he doesn't have to pull up from the Caitlin Clark logo, which he's done before. But DiVincenzo can hit threes. Yeah. In volume, right?
Yes, he can. Well, if Buddy Hield's a flamethrower, then Dante DiVincenzo needs to be the extinguisher because you're right. He plays every game like it's game 7, and he's such a gritty effort type of player. He pressures the ball well, so I think you'll see him on a primary ball handler like Curry. He understands kind of defensive spacing and being in the gap, but being able to also play two and that kind of situation. But you're right. Like we mentioned, and me and Max talked about, Dante's got to be a guy that is confident and he's ready to shoot the ball from three. He shot almost 40%, 39.5%
Yes.
from three this year. He's been a guy that's been able to do it throughout the years. Now you just got to do it in this playoff setting. And Dante's also a guy who he's played in big games in college at Villanova, played an NBA playoff series in the NBA. So I think he's a guy that's really going to be ready for the moment, kind of coming off that bench. I don't see the Wolves fixing or changing their starting lineup at all. I still see them going with Mike. But like we saw in that Lakers series, expect kind of that 8-minute mark in the first quarter for Mike to come out and guys like Dante to start coming in the game.
All right, lastly for this segment, Parker Fox at Parker Fox 24. What up? So if Kevon Looney is implemented, say, into the starting lineup or plays more than his super special 7 to 11 minutes a game, he will, right?
Yeah, he will.
I'm with you. I mean, he averaged, I think, 20 and change against the Wolves the last couple of years and 9 rebounds a game against them last year.
Yeah.
So, well, that means one thing, and it's unbelievable. It's not a one-on-one matchup. It's a bloodbath between Draymond Green and Julius Randle. Are you kidding me with that?
Whew, that one gives me chills, man, because those are two guys that neither of those guys are going to back down.
Neither
Neither of those guys are going to give an inch.
People can put fat L's on Draymond all they want. They can hate him all they want. And, he's not going to get those 50-50 calls from the refs anymore because he's put so much stress on them.
Yeah.
But what you can't dismiss with Draymond Green, he's one of the more fearless players in the history of the NBA. And now that we've seen Julius size up LeBron and be like, I respect you, bro, but I'm not afraid of you.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the deal. And if you go up for a layup, I'm going to come down hard on you. And if I accidentally get your face, well, that's just how it works, man.
Yep.
So Julius and Dre, oh, wow, with that.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that excites me the most in this series, especially with what we saw from Julius Randle in that Lakers series. Like you mentioned, he was putting shoulders into LeBron James's chest. He was bullying Rui Hachimura. He was getting anywhere he wanted to get on the floor. And that's not going to change with the Draymond Green. But now it's going to be, how is Draymond Green reacting to that? And how is Draymond Green's... how's
he going to guard it?
Yeah, he's not. It's a defensive kind of nightmare for Draymond Green.
Sorry to clip, but he might swing and try to hit you in the spot.
I always love that.
No, he does that.
Yeah,
what do you mean? It was an accident, just to get you to stop or keel over. Draymond Green does stuff like that.
He definitely does. On the defensive end, he's a menace. But on the offensive end, Draymond Green kind of orchestrates what the Warriors want to do offensively.
Point forward.
Yeah, playing in that high post. There's a lot of pin down screens for guys like Steph Curry and Brandon Podziemski. He's not going to shoot that mid-range very often unless he's wide open, but he's really just trying to set up your offense, almost Jokic kind of like. I think that's a super underrated part of Draymond's game. But Julius is going to be right there defending him.
Yep.
So I don't think Draymond's going to be a points per game type of guy in this series, but look for his assist numbers to be up.
DiVincenzo. Wow. So think about this. It's like, okay, we can put a little on Rudy because he's not going to go down to the block, clap, and say, give it to me and watch Dream Shake roll.
Please, no.
Rudy doesn't do that. Either does Draymond.
No.
So DiVincenzo on Green to slow that point forward bit.
I like it.
And you know this from being a big guy, man. Big guys, I don't care if you're Artis Gilmore, Patrick Ewing, Robert Parrish, or Yao Ming. They get frustrated when littles are on them.
Oh, yeah.
And they're slapping around.
Same with me. They're pulling at jerseys.
Right.
It's your elbow isn't in the mid back. It's now like low back. And you're like, get this guy off of me. Like, what is this little guy doing down here? But we saw it in the Houston series. Houston decided to go big and they played Steven Adams and Alfred Sengun together. Steven Adams at the 5, Sengun at the 4. And it was successful for them a little bit, but ultimately it didn't work because they lost the series. So I'm really interested to see what Chris Finch does, especially game 1, but moving forward in the series, because I think you can decide to say, screw those guys. We're going big because this is the way we play. And I think Finch is a guy that's going to trust his team. And I don't think he's going to really deviate from their normal plan and their normal substitutions. But as the series goes on and the Warriors, if they decide to stay small, it's going to be interesting to see what Rudy Gobert's impact is. Is he going to have a 27 and 24 point game where he's grabbing every rebound and finishing? Or is he going to be the Rudy Gobert that misses 4 free throws and has 1 point and 2 rebounds
and can't catch?
Yeah.
Oh, the roles that they have designed sometimes where all you got to do is roll to the basket and just lay it, and just the catching part of it can be problematic.
Always has been.
More with P. Fox, Parker Fox, Elite Basketball Mind Covenant at Parker Fox 24 via Twitter. But first,
The cash thing, the fan and bigdeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Head to KFAN.com. Enter the keyword fun. The keyword is fun. KFAN.com.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Keyword fun.
What do you like in the Oklahoma City-Denver series?
Yeah, you and me were talking about who's going to give this big bad Thunder's team a better fight, and that other series in Denver and Clippers went 7, and eventually, Denver's, I think their playoff experience kind of showed. I think the easy answer is to go with Oklahoma City. They have better depth, a lot better depth than Denver does, but in Denver, you have that guy, you have that dude that can put up 30, 20, and 10, and he can win games by himself. And when you have Jamal Murray playing as well as he did in Game 7, it creates an interesting dynamic there. But ultimately,
is that wishful thinking for you?
I think it's
Are you talking yourself into that? Because
I am.
Wolves have beaten Denver 8 consecutive.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
I mean, in the Mile Get High City, they ain't tripping on the dispensaries or Joker.
Nope.
But OKC, I mean, I'll say it for a 4th time the last week, and I think I said it to you. If it does come down to Wolves and Oklahoma City Thunder, bloodbath. I mean, Wolves at Oklahoma City has been favored in most of the games and has won a fair amount.
Yeah.
Wolves have played them incredibly well.
Yeah, that Wolves Thunder, that's I think what everybody's kind of looking for in that Western Conference Finals. It's 2 teams that are not afraid to go to their bench. They're not afraid to play deep. They're not afraid to play multiple bigs. They're not afraid to forget about the bigs and play a bunch of wings. So I think you have to go with the Thunder winning that Denver series, but hopefully they can beat up on them. Hopefully they can steal one on the road. They can get a couple wins at home. If they're able to do that and hopefully push that thing to 7 games, I just don't see the Wolves going 7 games. I just see them getting it done in 5 or 6. So if Denver can find a way to push the Thunder to play a couple extra games, give the Wolves an extra day or 2 of rest, which I think they can do. They have tremendous players. They have Michael Porter Jr. shooting the ball well. Jamal Murray's playing well. And then you have the best player in the world. So that's what I'm hoping for. Make them a little bit more tired when they have to come to Target Center.
Western Conference only. Is Oklahoma City, should it be considered absolutely the best in show? Mm-hmm. So Oklahoma City, the one, and favored to come out of the West.
Yeah.
Like we said, there have been some terrific games between the Thunder and the Timberwolves that have been tightly contested. Then you get to the bench factor where, if those 2 teams happen to meet, or given people can watch OKC tonight, you get to when with Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Dante DiVincenzo and Naz Reid.
Yeah.
Well, those 3 right there could start on a fair amount of teams in the NBA.
Oh, certainly.
So, but the Thunder always are the one that people go to and talk about their bench depth. Mm-hmm. Like they get 4 or 5 who play a lot. What's that all about?
Yeah, they're similar to the Wolves in that way, and that's something that probably scares Wolves fan a little bit, because I think that's an advantage that the Timberwolves have, and we saw that in the Lakers series where the Timberwolves were able to almost run the Lakers out of the gym because they didn't have any depth. The Timberwolves do, but so do this Thunder team. They have, they bring guys off the bench that can play as well, like an Aaron Wiggins out of Maryland. They got the other Jalen Williams. They got the 2 Jalen Williamses. They got not DiVincenzo,
Case and Wallace,
Alex Caruso, Case and Wallace. They got Isaiah Joe. They got guys that can really play. They have
situational specific guys.
Exactly, and they have the best defense in the league with the 106.9 defensive rating. So they also have the best net rating in the league. So they're a team that
what's net rating?
Net rating is your offense and your defense, kind of what you're giving up versus what you are scoring. So
and that matters to you, like when you look at stats.
Oh, it's a huge stat. Yeah,
so, and I'm not one to go old guy on it and say analytics don't fit in every sport.
Yeah.
I still think for baseball with the pitcher and the batter.
For sure.
It's OG. It was the first one, and it matters the most there. But somebody like you, man, who watches film and you get the analytics that matter in high leverage games. That's one of them.
Well, I think anytime you look at a basketball game, you look at how well did we do defensively and how well did we do offensively. And if that's positive, how far was it positive? And the Thunder do that better than anybody else does in the league at plus 12.7. So I think that's a stat where they're probably priding themselves on, hey, if we can defensively shut teams down and then we can find ways to build on our defense and go score in transition and do special things like that. And when you have a guy named Shai Gilgeous-Alexander who's probably going to win the MVP this year, although I disagree. I think that award should go to Jokic. But I think it's going to be Shai this year, averaging 30 plus points per game. They have some special things offensively that they can do, but I think they pride themselves on the defensive end. They got Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein inside. They really anchor that thing. You add that with a gritty defender like Jalen Williams, and then, as we know, Alex Caruso has been one of the best gritty defenders in the league over the past 5-6 years. So, they're doing Mark Dagnall's doing some really good things down in Oklahoma City.
Oh, I mean, for whichever general manager or whomever was behind peddling Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I mean, he came into the league a Clipper, and did he play games for the Clippers?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so it wasn't the switch the hat on the stage bit. So they traded, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's the best point guard in the NBA. Quite honestly, it's not close. It's kind of close. I mean, Cade Cunningham's, he's got himself.
Jalen
Brunson with the big time shots and everything. Yeah. But out of all point guards in the NBA, would you take SGA before all of them?
Yeah, right now you would.
Okay.
Yeah, right now with his age too.
Yeah, so the GM who decided, I'm going to peddle SGA. Assumedly, that GM no longer has a job with that team. Conversely, I think it's Sam Presti. Is it Sam Presti who runs the OKC team? I mean, I looked at this over the weekend. I'm off kilter right now, so I can't remember what the voluminous amount of high draft picks they have coming up.
Oh, my goodness.
Bro, they're going to be good for 20 years.
Yeah.
So, but the Hartenstein and Caruso trades or free agent acquisitions, well, that's the bomb.
Oh, it's the bomb. And
those moves were not just good. They were 9 of 10 excellent.
Well, those are moves that you can do when you stack up a bunch of draft picks, right? Like, you can't make those moves if you don't put in the work. And I heard somebody say, making a comment about OKC and Shai, and they said, OKC's rebuild is over. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the blueprint. And I think that's true. They found a guy in Shai that they truly believe in. And hey, we have all these picks. I don't even know how many picks they had. Can we trade those picks and can we bring in a backup for Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein, who is excellent with the Knicks? Can we bring in an Alex Caruso and add him to this, just great defensive team that Oklahoma City is? So I think you're right, PA. When you go about free agency, you got to think about the right now, but you also got to build for the future. And when you have a guy like Shai that you can build off and around, and you have all these picks that you can trade and add them to different places. Josh Giddey got traded out to the Bulls, and you bring in Hartenstein and Caruso. I don't know, man. What they did down there in Oklahoma City with stacking those picks, and now they're the number 1 seed, and they're going to be a top seed in the West for a long time with what they have moving forward. They're set up really well.
Okay. Lastly, if you take Curry and Butler, and you just saw, okay, so LeBron and Curry.
Yeah.
I'm going to push that one, okay, with where LeBron is in his career. Steph's 3 years younger, but they both got a ton of rings. I'm going to go ahead and push that immortality piece. Forget how they play. Then after that, you get Luka and Jimmy Butler. I'm taking Butler in that deal, even at this age, most times, because you're going to get defense. You're going to get a toughness
in the playoffs. Yes,
in the playoffs that Luka has shown at times. But Luka also has shown when things are going his way. I'm not going to say quit, but he'll stop playing.
Howdy.
Right. Okay. So then you get to the third factor: Austin Reeves. Nah, Draymond. Yeah. Well, that's a major key right there, right?
100% is. I think a lot of ESPN and a lot of the analytical people will say you can guard the top 2 players, but it's hard to guard the third player on a team. and Austin Reeves was that third player. He was very poor in the Lakers series. Now you have Draymond Green / Jimmy Butler as that third player. That's an upgrade from what we saw in the Lakers series. So I think you're right. It makes it a little bit more difficult. But the one thing that the Wolves have is that depth. They have 3, they have 4, they have 5, they have 6. Like they can go, they can have their 6th, 7th, 8th man explode for a 30-point triple-double. You know what I mean? So I think this is a Wolves team that can combat that, which a lot of people don't think they can.
I'll see you next week. Thanks for the chat.
Love you.
Love you too. Parker Fox at Parker Fox 24.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.
Our final segment now. You got something over there that you want to vibe with the audience, or are we all good?
No, we're all good.
Well, thank you. And in deep stretch of the 9 to noon radio show, I'll still send you a set list email later. If those indeed help you. We're pretty much set tomorrow, man.
Nice.
We're set tomorrow. I to get ahead of this off kilter covenant, I booked Wolves Vox Alan Horton, Radio Vox Alan Horton. He will be in the 651 Carpets Plus studios right out of the gate tomorrow. So we'll go 2 with Alan. We'll figure out number 3. The scribe will stop by for a couple of segments, and we will figure out what will be number 5. And then we have a wild press conference tomorrow that I've been told we can carry if we would like. And we would like to. It is John Hines, coach of the Wild, and Billy Guerin, the general manager. They're going to be sharing thought in postmortem-like fashion regarding the end of the Minnesota Wild 2024-2025 season. That's going to be at about 11 o'clock. Then Double B, Elite Hockey Mine, and Elite Spotting Up Mine. Oh, you got a Brett's bet for tonight? Did you put anything together? Don't rush it.
I did not.
Okay, don't rush it.
Okay.
Well, no, actually, let's see how hot you are.
All right.
Go ahead and call something up. I
Okay.
mean, you got 5 dubs and 1 L. And let's just see how, this is, in the business, we call this a heat check. Let's just see if you are capable of not studying game logs, not studying injury reports, takes, trends, talkers, and tidbits, and just looking at a game and or a line and seeing it clearly.
All right. I'm gonna just fire from the hip here.
Give it to us.
Florida Panthers puck line. So that is.
So they play tonight?
They play tonight.
Okay.
They play against the Leafs in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
The puck line is
plus 125 would be what? I mean, a plus 1.5 would be what?
So
don't tell me Florida's favored.
Florida's favored.
Florida's favored on the road?
Florida's favored on the road by 1.5 goals.
Yeah. Okay. So what are they favored just on the win line? Like minus 140 or something?
Minus 125.
Okay. So what's the puck line minus 1.5?
Plus 205. Yeah. I'm fired for the hip.
Bro,
Yeah.
I've worked in this game for more than 3 decades. Anytime somebody has an opportunity to fire from the lip or fire from the hip, and they don't, you know what, I'm 5-1 and it's on the radio and a bunch of people are listening, man. I'll take so-and-so. I'll take the Celtics to beat the Knicks in a series minus 850. Now, when they immediately are inclined to find an underdog, win or lose, I got a lot of respect for that. I didn't want to tell you this into it, but I'll tell you out of it. This will not count against your Brett's Bets ledger unless it wins.
Unless it wins.
Yeah, because it's, well, seriously, because you didn't put any time into it, and it's a plus. It's plus money on the road, and I got a lot of respect for that. Great job. We'll see you tomorrow, okay?
Sounds good.
Thank you very much for tolerating yours truly today and listening to 9 to noon. I'm Paul Allen. Have a wonderful day. Talk tomorrow.
Podcast today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Are you still quoting 30-year-old movies? Have you said cool beans in the past 90 days? Do you think Discover isn't widely accepted? If this sounds like you, you're stuck in the past. Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. And every time you make a purchase with your card, you automatically earn cash back. Welcome to the now. It pays to Discover. Learn more at discover.com/creditcard, based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Time is precious, and so are our pets. So time with our pets is extra precious. That's why we started Dutch. Dutch provides 24/7 access to licensed vets with unlimited virtual visits and follow-ups for up to 5 pets. You can message a vet at any time and schedule a video visit the same day. Our vets can even prescribe medication for many ailments, and shipping is always free. With Dutch, you'll get more time with your pets and year-round peace of mind when it comes to their vet care.